Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today we're going to be looking at Rainbow Road. It's an archetype that's been around for a little bit now, but we are going to have a couple updates from the Sun and Moon format. Really, I just feel like Rainbow Road doesn't really lose anything, and in fact, a lot of the new archetypes from Sun and Moon don't really threaten Rainbow Road, and they don't really have many answers to it. So when this deck goes unchecked, it can just completely wipe out games because its damage output is so high. It puts up such an aggressive start that it just, takes those 6 prizes in 3 or 4 turns. So yeah, we're going to look at the deck, why it's good, and the couple changes that we have in here as well. So first of all, the main attacker in the list is going to be this basic Xerneas with 120 HP. It's a fairy type, which is nice because it has resistance to dark, which helps out a lot against things like Turbo Darkrai, Yveltal, even the new Umbreon GX. This is a very good type to resist. It also has weakness to Metal, which I think is actually a really good weakness to have as well in the format, because there's hype around Volcanion right now, because of all the new grass things coming out. In a similar vein, there won't be many Metal decks out there right now. So it has almost no weakness and a really relevant resist, which is great typing for the deck. It has a 2 retreat cost, but its main attack, Rainbow Force, is the real reason to play this card. For a fairy and 2 colourless energies, it does 10 base damage and 30 more for each different type of Pokemon on your bench. Bear in mind that we do have a couple dual types in this list. Volcanion will only take up 1 bench slot, but counts as 60 damage because he is both fire and water type. Same goes for Galvantula. So this can get really, really high very, very quickly, because we have Hoopa EX to search out a load of the EX Pokemon. We have Skyfield to fill the bench, up to 8 Pokemon rather than just 5. So this output is really, really huge, which is great. Its second attack is pretty irrelevant. Even under Parallel City, you should be doing more damage. So only focus on the first attack for this Pokemon. So, complementing this, as you can see, we have lots of EX Pokemon. So I'll start with the Hoopa EX, just because for your first Ultra Ball, this is almost always going to be the target that you want to find. Scoundrel Ring is fantastic. It counts as a lot of damage. It's 30 damage on its own, and it can be 90 damage just by finding Volcanion, then 120 damage. So it's technically, an Ultra Ball is 150 damage with this one card. So Hoopa is very, very good, not only getting you lots of damage on the board straight away, but also thinning the deck from some of these Pokemon, and sometimes getting you into Shaymin EX to keep drawing for that turn. So it's a really crucial card. I think this is, I know every deck hates prizing or starting Hoopa, but this one seems to be really, really hurt by prizing or starting Hoopa. Unfortunately, we don't have space for 2, so we'll just play the 1 and cross our fingers. So, because we need to have different types of Pokemon on our bench, you can see that we play a few different tech Pokemon. Already mentioned Volcanion. It's the only basic dual type that we have in the game, so he is an obvious choice. We have the Genesect EX to cover the metal typing. It has the nice little ability Drive Change. Once during a turn, you may move a Pokemon tool card attached to this Pokemon into your hand. This is pretty good. In the opening turns, if you find Genesect EX and you're about to use a Professor Sycamore, you may as well slap a Fury Belt or a Floatstone onto him, just so that you don't have to discard it straight away. So if you've not yet found your Xerneas, you may as well put a Fury Belt on, or just putting a Floatstone on him as a placeholder is really strong, because it means that if your opponent is going to try and Lysandre stall at any point, and you do have your abilities online, because Volcanion, Flygon and Hoopa all have chunky retreats, and the Genesect itself has a high retreat cost as well. Having just one Genesect on the bench with a Floatstone means that your entire board is essentially covered from a Lysandre stall, so this is very, very strong. It's a great target to put Floatstone onto, as long as you have your abilities online, so bear that in mind. And then the other Pokemon that we're playing as a tech EX is the single Flygon EX. It's the Dragon type, so it's again a new type for the deck, and it has Voice of the Sands for the ability. Once during a turn, if this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, you may have your opponent switch his or her active with one of his or her benched Pokemon. This is more than anything just a tech card for things like Joltik EX, where otherwise we could be kind of stuck against them. So putting a Floatstone on the Flygon is also sometimes advisable, because in between turns we can send him up to the active so that we can Elixir onto our Xerneas, etc. to get them powered up. And if we want to, we can gust the opponent's active out of the way. So not only good for Jolteon, it can make sure that your opponent can't try and force a 7-prize game on us. We constantly have that gust just in the list as well. So it's a dragon type with a slight addition that can help out in random spots. From there we have the Joltik, which serves as good lightning typing. It also has free retreat, so it's one of the best leads in the deck because you can Elixir onto your Xerneas if Joltik's in the active, and then simply free retreat into your dudes. Bear in mind it only has 30 HP. This is a problem because people can just Sky Return, taking 2 prizes off their board and taking a prize off yours. Not only a prize, but it's 30 damage, which is also technically negating 60 damage because Galvantula is a 2-type Pokemon when you evolve into it. That's the main reason that you want to play Galvantula, just for the sitting on the bench and being 60 damage for your main attacker. But itself isn't too shabby either, because Double Thread does 30 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and you do apply weakness and resistance. So this is handy for the things weak to lightning or grass. So you can deal with Froakies 2 at once. It's just so good against Greninja. You can also put 60 damage onto Shaymin EXs, or put a little bit of poke damage even onto Yveltals, etc. If they are going to be using Parallel City to combat you, you can put a little bit of extra damage on them in the earlier turns if need be. So that is going to round out the Pokemon. For the items, we have one new item card from the Sun and Moon expansion. This is a pretty good 5th ball card in a lot of different lists, and it's very important to find multiple Xerneas in this deck. The main issue for this deck is just not having enough backup attackers, so having your 4 Ultra Ball and 1 Nest Ball is really nice in here. I wish I had space for more, but Rainbow Road is simply too tight of a list. It allows you to search your deck for a basic and slap it straight onto the bench, so you can think of this as, you know, at least 30 damage if you're just going to find extra things to add up for Rainbow Force, but most of the time it's going to find your Xerneas pieces as well, which is very important. Very good card. We are playing 2 Superon in this list so that we can recycle our Pokemon once they are either knocked out or Skyfield is taken out of play, and we have to discard Pokemon down to either 3 because of a Parallel City, or just a 5 Pokemon bench if we've gone over the 5 with Skyfield. There's not too many times when you actually do have to go over 5 because of the dual typers that we have, but it's sometimes something that we have to do, so Super Rod's good for recycling there. We are playing just the 2 Trainer's Mail. Again, it's a card that I wish I could kind of play free of because we are trying to be quick with this list, but space is just an issue. We do have 4 Max Elixir. It's an integral part of the deck. Even though we only play 8 Fairy Energy, it's very important to find these to try and hit them off, so that going second, we could potentially Elixir DCE and be attacking on our first turn if we go second, which is very cool. But also reloading against decks that can one-hit KO Xerneas, we have to not only find DCE but also hit an Elixir, which is kind of difficult to do, so it's important to find these as quickly as possible. Then we have 4 Ultra Ball, like I say, amazing for Hoopa EX, Shaymin EX, and just other Pokemon in general. 4 VS Seeker to recycle your supporters that we play in this list. Because this deck gets hits with N, and that's one of the biggest ways that this deck can lose, just N and Dead Draw, I do find it's fairly important to still have the 4 VS Seeker count. I've been thinking about cutting down to 3 just for space, because there's a few things that I would like to maybe add in here. Maybe an extra Pokemon, another Nest Ball, another Fairy Energy. There are a few of these cards that I'm thinking about trying to make space for. Right now I'm sticking with the 4 VS Seekers, just because when you get hit with an N, you need to have an answer after that, and VS Seeker's like pretty much the best answer you can draw, so yeah. 3 Skyfield. It's not necessary to play 4 because you can already do a huge amount of damage just with a regular 5 Pokemon bench, so as long as you have 3 to bounce things, and for the early turns you can play it, Hoopa, drop all your Shaymins all at once, etc. That should be good. And then for a couple of one-off supporters, we are going to be playing 1 Olympia in here. This just helps out against Fright Night Yveltal, because we are playing only Floatstones as our other switching options. Additionally, it's a supporter rather than an item card, so we can switch under Vileplume Lock, which is important. And just in general, it feels more safe that we have a VS secretable way of switching rather than just playing like a rope or a switch itself, because those can be just discarded with Sycamore. And then you're pretty sad because later on, with so many chunky things, it's just safe to have the Olympia in here, in my opinion. We are playing just one N, and this is one of the new, thanks to one of the new inclusions from the new set, we do have Lillie instead now, which I think for this list in particular is potentially stronger than N. Because this deck is so aggressive and aims to take 2 prizes basically from turn 2 onwards, N becomes very useless to us. So I only play 1 in here for being a good opening supporter, and also shuffle draw in general is too good to pass up on having the option for at the very least. So there are times when you have a dead card, but a dead hand, but you can still have like 6 cards in hand. So that's where something like Lillie would be pretty bad, and N is the bailout option. So I do still think 1 is important, but overall I think it is outclassed by the new supporter that we have, Lillie. On the first turn of the game, you can draw up to 8 cards in your hand. That is a really strong effect, really. This deck can mill its hand down quite low, and you can be drawing 5 cards a lot of the time on turn 1 with Lillie, which is fantastic. Additionally, like I've said, this deck goes aggressive. This tries to take prizes very quickly. Therefore, your opponent's comeback strategy often involves Parallel City plus N or Garbodor plus N, and then they cross their fingers that we can't draw out of it. And previously, we used to play 4 Sycamore 3N, and now we have Lillie. And just think about all those situations when you've taken 2 prizes, you get End, and you're thinking, man, I need to draw a Sycamore here, need to draw Sycamore, and then you draw an N, and it's like, well, N is terrible, because now I'm only shuffling in my cards and drawing up to 4. Well, now if you get a Lillie off that N, even though it's not turn 1 of the game anymore, you can still draw until you have 6 cards in your hand, and that's a lot more impactful and meaningful than an N. So I really like 2 Lillie in here. I think it's decent enough on turn 1 to fill the role of N in terms of being an early game consistency supporter, but also is better from turn 2 onwards than N would be, at least in theory. And then we're playing 2 Lysandre, just for making sure we hit EXs and threats and all that normal shenanigans that Lysandre's in every deck for. And we're also playing 4 Professor Sycamore, just for the dump and draw. It's pretty much the best card in this entire deck. For tools, we're choosing to play 2 Fighting Fury Belt. Fury Belt right now is a really good tool to have, because things like Turbo Dark and Yveltal are around, and even Umbreon to an extent. It's just so good to be really healthy. Sometimes Turbo Dark can reach the numbers without a Fury Belt, but just putting the Fury Belt on means we're 160 HP as a non-EX, and it's a lot of commitment to get over. I found that oftentimes it's best to just have 1 tanky Xerneas rather than have 1 in the active, 1 on the bench with an EXP share on, because you're making it easier for your opponent to take knockouts in the first place, and that's just fundamentally flawed in a way, because you still need to, even after hitting an EXP share, you still need to find DCE, and people are going to be trying their hardest to end away that hand. So best just to have high HP, more difficult to take out Xerneas, in my opinion. And then 2 Floatstone, like I say, good for putting on Genesect, and just because we have high HP, high retreat cost things, that it's kind of important. For energy, DC is obviously a huge important factor in here to make Rainbow Force technically 2 attachments, and only the 8 Fairy. It's one of these things where I'd quite like to play 9, just to improve those Elixir odds more than anything else. But it's, again, all we have space for. Space is a big thing with Rainbow Force, because you need to have full bench, a fairly high amount of energy, but you also want to be turbo and have good combat potential against cards like N. So, because Rainbow Force is a deck that can play almost any type of Pokemon, it does naturally have a lot of options in the deck. Tilt your heads now, because we've got a Break evolution. Xerneas Break has been played in the past because it does give you that slight HP buff in a similar way to Fighting Fury Belt would do, but it does mean that you actually become an evolved Pokemon, so you're a lot less worried about Jolteon EX. Right now we're not playing the Break, we're instead playing Fighting Fury Belts, because we're not thinking Jolteon's going to be too impactful. A lot of the new cards from Sun and Moon are evolution Pokemon, so maybe people are looking towards Glaceon rather than Jolteon. I know Plumebox could still survive and that would be awkward, but at the very least we still have Flygon to give us the backup for that, so I feel comfortable enough not playing the break in this list currently. A few other Tech EX Pokemon, Umbreon EX, just being a Dark type, which is a type we currently don't have in the deck. It has a single retreat cost and a single colourless energy attack that pokes for 20, but allows you to discard as many cards as you like from your hand, and then draw that many cards. Anyone who's played Rainbow Road knows that sometimes the combo just doesn't come in the right sequence. You've got your elixirs before you found your Xerneas, you've got Hoopa prized and it's hard to find all your damage, so in those turns when you want to be a little bit slower, you can do Veil of Darkness to try and bail you out of a bad hand and draw a fresh one. I think Umbreon EX makes a lot more sense if you do actually play EXP Share though, so that's why it's not in our current list. But I've played it in the past because I've had EXP Share in there for a little bit. Dragonite EX is another one that some people have tried with this list. Personally, I'm not a fan just based on how much ability lock I'm anticipating in the new format. However, it is really good for reloading. Once a parallel city goes down, you can just replace Stadium, pull up, and he represents 90 damage on his own, so that's really strong. If you're not expecting much Garbodor, personally I am, so that's why we're not playing it. Similar mentality for why we are not playing Oranguru. Oranguru could be useful, although we are already playing two colourless types in Shaymin EX, they almost always serve different purposes, because Shaymin will be your early game pressure. Inevitably the Skyfield will be bounced at some point, so Shaymin does go off the board, and then later on you put the Oranguru down for that instructability. Again, I keep saying that a lot of the ways that people deal with this deck is just crossing your fingers that you can't draw well after an N. So instruct making sure that you can draw a couple more cards in those tight spots to win out the game a little bit quicker could be very cool. Another option, there are plenty of Pokemon here. Carbink, the Energy Keeper Carbink could be helpful. This can really help out against Umbreon GX because you can keep your Fairy Energy on the board, and also things like Taurus Hammers or other just hammer builds. There's a few of them popping up lately, so Carbink could be a nice one-off. Again, fighting type isn't something that we have in the list currently, so he could squeeze in, maybe take out the Jolteon, not the Jolteon, the Flygon or the Genesect, just as and when the meta demands, the Carbink goes in. Just something to bear in mind. A final one, just for the metal type, if you're not happy with the Genesect EX, you can play Jirachi for the Stardust. It can be really frustrating for Mega Ray players. It can be frustrating for Vespiquen builds as well. Naturally, you don't feel positive against the Vespi variants, but Jirachi can sometimes bring that close to even. Again, I think if you're playing these sorts of Pokemon, the Umbreon, the Jirachi, with single attachment costs, I would then anticipate adding the EXP Share in the list to make it a little bit more synergistic, because otherwise it feels like energy attachments are too precious to do those sorts of things. On to trainers now. Escape Rope is something that I've played before. Right now I've gone over why I like Olympia over it, but if you're feeling a little bit greedier, if you're playing maybe some fewer retreat cost Pokemon, like if you're playing the Carbink over the Flygon and the Jirachi over the Genesect, you can try just having Rope going away from Olympia because you can have more easy pay retreat options, and Escape Rope again helps out against Jolteon, helps gusting non-EXs out the active, and it just is a good bit of early pressure as well as a switch card that you can insta-play. I've mentioned it loads, but EXP Share is definitely an option in here. I've gone over it before. Right now I'm sat on Fury Belts, but I can definitely see that interchanging based on the Pokemon text that we play. Teammates is another option that I've seen in a few lists of Rainbow Force, because you can search DCE, which not many cards in the current game can do. So just guaranteeing a DCE for the following turn is pretty important. And another quick one is going to be Buddy Buddy Rescue that you can choose to play. Right now we're playing 2 Super Odd. If you're anticipating not many parallel city-based decks, you can maybe cut to a 1-1 split, because Buddy Buddy Rescue is more immediate. It can grab you Shaymin back, which again helps against the N, so it's technically at times a draw card as well, as long as you have a replacement stadium ready to go. So yeah, lots of thoughts about Rainbow Road. It's a very strong archetype with lots of variation to the list. I've seen plenty of different lists for Rainbow Road. This is the one that I'm currently working on, And I think it is a decent option going into the next format. So let me just find this deck. Where are we? There we go. And jump into the ladder and see what we play against. Like I'm saying, from the Sun and Moon sets, nothing really threatens us too much because, yes, no one likes Vileplume, so Lurantis Plume can be awkward. But they play Forest Giant Plants. Regular Lurantis plays Forest, Decidueye plays Forest. These are all things that we're not too worried about because then we don't really lose many Pokemon when they replace the stadium, unlike a Parallel City lock. I know that Umbreon sometimes plays Parallel, but normally it's only 1 or 2, so not too tricky. And yeah, from there, that's the majority of the new decks. So Persimmon already plays Skyfield for us, but that's awkward, just like it would be awkward for best Pokemon players because they can just attach DC and go, and they just sort of outrace us a lot of the time. But in general, I think Rainbow Force can have a good matchup against a bunch of decks, and we are up against a Lapras, and this is probably playing Rough Seas as its stadium, which again isn't too threatening for us. So we do have a strong start with the Shaymin EX. We actually have prized our Flygon EX, so Hoopa's only going to be getting us 2 EXs here. We can have a look at what else is in here. Our other Super Rod is in hand. We have our 2 other Skyfields. Lillie is in there. We've prized a single Fairy and a Lysandre. 1 Joltik as well. Okay, manageable stuff. So this turn our priority is to attach 1 energy to the active. That's all we need to do. We will take this Ultra Ball, I think. Because it's a Lapras deck, I'm actually fairly comfortable discarding this Super Rod. Like I say, they're only going to be playing the Rough Seas, in my opinion. So I don't have to be too worried about the stadium being bounced. I don't think we're going to put down more Pokemon than this at all. So if they do want to bounce the stadium, we get rid of Shaymin, and that's good for us. So let's get a clean 6 cards off of Shaymin EX. We do indeed find that 1 Fairy Energy, which is all that we need. And from there, I can happily pass the turn because we're sat on a DCE. So let's pass. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, to 10, to 20 is actually not enough to deal with a Lapras if they find a Fighting Fury Belt. So we need to find our own Fury Belt, or we need to find Galvantula next turn. And we do have Ultra Ball, so that should be fairly chilled out. Let's see how they can handle this. They are going to Dive Ball and find themselves another Lapras GX. Going to see a Max Elixir. That fails, which is actually quite surprising. That list often plays 11 to 12 water energies. And we see a manual attachment to the active. And a Professor Sycamore. Going to get rid of Ninja Boy, Energy Switch, and Water. If they play Ninja Boy, that may mean that they could play Tauros, so that's something to look out for. But with this deck, you don't mind Tauros too much because we're looking to 1-hit KO everything. And we see a Concede very quickly. So, yeah, I guess if you don't find the answers, you're in trouble. They did have the option to collect that turn, obviously. But I think they just realised that they're pretty far behind straight away. Missing Fury Belt, I imagine. Missing any other extra elixirs and stuff. Yeah, quick Concede. And that's one of the main traits of Rainbow Force, that it puts so much pressure on so early that it's difficult to deal with for almost any deck. So let's find another game. This time we're up against Arf, who is calling the coin. And I'm going to take a swig of water here quickly. So bad matchups for this deck include really the dark decks aren't really bad matchups, but they're not really amazing matchups because although we have resistance and a lot of HP, they try and tech in Parallel Garb, and that is painful for this deck for certain. Mega Mewtwo is probably the hardest matchup in my opinion, because it's so easy for them to 1-hit KO us in response, as long as they can hit their things. We are staring down a nice rainbow coloured Tauros GX, the rainbow rare, and they're playing Pokemon Fan Club, so definitely an interesting list. We see a Cosmog and a Dragonite EX as well. Opting to put the Dragonite EX immediately to the bench is interesting. We're going to see a metal get attached to the Cosmog. I wonder why they instantly searched out Dragonite. That doesn't make much sense to me. We're going to see an Ultra Ball getting rid of a Cosmo M and a metal. Going to see a Shaymin EX. Yeah, the Dragonite still doesn't make much sense. And Shaymin's going to draw some cards. And just a pass. So, we have a couple unplayable cards in this hand, but hopefully Hoopa is not prized, and we can crack on from there. Hoopa isn't prized, which is great news. So we're going to go ahead and find him. We're going to go ahead and use Hoopa to scoundrel ring. Now we're going to find Genesect, Shaymin, Volk. We're going to put down Genesect and the Floatstone. If it's a Solgaleo list, I'm pretty certain that they're not playing any ability lock. So, just drawing 3 cards, I think, is the way to go here, rather than attaching to Joltik. So we'll just draw 3 off this Shaymin. And we do hit Ultra Ball Joltik. This is a tricky one. I could dig harder for second Shaymin. I think that's what we kind of have to do here. So we're going to Fury Belt up the active, or potentially the Shaymin. Again, it's Fury Belt up Shaymin. That gives us the option to Sky Return. We're going to discard these 2, keep the Elixir, I think. So now we want to dig for Supporter or Skyfield, really, more than anything. We hit Skyfield and Lillie, which is cool. Lillie's actually a pretty good supporter on the first turn of the game. And we're going to DCE this Shaymin. We can use Lillie to draw up to 8, which is the dream. Still don't find ourselves a Xerneas, which is a shame. I don't think I want to take any cards here because I'm likely to be Sycamoring next turn, so we'll just say no to that. Retreat into Shaymin EX and just go for the Sky Return. And I'm going to bounce into Genesect because I'm not too threatened. Putting 40 damage on isn't really good enough, even timesing 3 with the Mad Bull GX. So, yeah. Weird first turn. That's sort of going towards the inconsistency issue that I've got as one of the weaknesses of the deck. Just finding things in the wrong order. As long as we don't find the Xerneas, we can't drop a lot of the cards in our hand. We can't really drop the elixirs or the manual attachments, therefore we're not drawing as many cards as we potentially could be. So, but we did get to see a Lillie for 8, which is cool. Going to see the Rare Candy Solgaleo turn 2, and obviously it has the Ultra Road ability, so it can jump its way into the active this turn. Getting lots of DCEs out would be pretty good for the Dragonite and other things. We're going to see a manual attachment to the Solgaleo and then a Shaymin EX using setup. There goes another Cosmog. Going to see a Trainer's Mail here for a Super Rod. Could get back some metals and that little Cosmo M there. We're going to see the Ultra Road ability. Fantastic ability on the Solgaleo GX, no doubt about it. And we are going to see Soul Burst GX. I wonder how many metals and DCEs they're going to bring out. Okay, 1 DCE. 2 DCEs onto that Dragonite. 3 DCEs. 1 metal to the active, it looks like, just a basic metal, and probably 1 to Nebby as well. Yeah, one goes on to Nebby also. So, that's a lot of energy. I think we can all agree that. Okie dokie. What am I doing here? It's a really awkward hand. I know that people in the comments will be saying that N would be pretty good here. And you'd be right. I think I'm definitely Sky Returning this turn. Got to protect the DCE. And I think I do have to Sycamore, as sad as it is. This deck can't win when it's slow. Let's go. Buy hand, buy resources. We do find Xerneas at the very least. We find Galvantula. I think I search out another Xerneas here and don't play the Elixir. We've had to discard a lot of fairies early on though. This Elixir's not going to be good. Okay. Well. This is pretty grim. Let's Sky Return into Hoopa. I'd rather that KO'd if they don't have Lysandre, but they likely do with that sort of hand. Sad times. There is a Cosmo M to the bench. And we actually get End. Okay. So looks like Hoopa's likely to be going down here if they do choose to use Soulburst GX. I mean, Sunsteel Strike. I'd prefer them not to actually. I'd prefer them just to attack with Dragonite. I think that's the smarter play if I'm sat on their side. But hey, they've got a million energies on the board. May as well just go for the KO. Why not? They potentially have another Solgaleo next turn, so I guess that's reasonable. Okay, Trainer's Mail, please. N isn't bad here. After me bad-mouthing it all through the start of this video. Let's go for the Elixir. No surprises that we miss because we've got so many in the discard pile. I've not seen any of our super odds just yet. Gonna go for Shaymin EX here. So I think we're just going for Galvantula because it's not likely that we can hit Elixir plus other things. So we'll just go for this. Hopefully we can get a Super Rod. Still no dice there, which is a shame. Because we obviously have to recycle Joltik if we're going down this path. But we're going to go double Shaymin here. Threatens some big prizes. Forces the Dragonite out. Third energy to Cosmog. Going to see Ultra Road into that Dragonite EX. Fury Belt goes onto the active. And there's Hyper Beam. Okay. That's DCE. And I think we're just gonna play N here. And pray to hit some elixirs. And other things like super rods. Damn it, game. Why? Why, game? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Okay, we feed them one of these, bench one of these, pass. Oh dear, we're in trouble now. We really need Super Rod pretty soon. Okay, still no Lysandre, so there's hope. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17. Doing 170 so far. Can discard these. Yeah, we've prized one of our rods, so we really need to hit the super rod. Like, really badly. Let's go, Lillie. Well, we hit super rod. Going for Galvantula and Shaymin, I think. Do I just pray that they can't Ultra Road? Just pray they can't find Solgaleo next turn. They did really nothing, right? We have to take the risk here. We can't just keep sitting forever. Okay, cross our fingers, everyone. Kukui also wrecks us. Solgaleo wrecks us, Kukui wrecks us. This attack in general is pretty horrible for us. Not looking great. There's a VS Seeker for Hex. Could they not Lysandre for game? No, apparently not. Just a Hex. Interesting. And they can get rid of DC, of course. Right, does Olympia get me out of range? Do 60, so no. This is all so bad. So many things that are bad are happening right now. Do I still play Olympia just to play it? I think I do. Stops a Sky Return, right? Yeah, so we have to play this. Right, first two prizes. Not a Joltik, which is a problem. Here's Tauros, obviously guarantees the KO. Lysandre again wins the game. Okay. Nest Ball is a Joltik at least. That's a thing. Lysandre doesn't hurt too much other than the fact that they can... No, Lysandre doesn't hurt at all. So we will just attach DCE and pray again. Dragonite goes down with a DCE. Super surprised I didn't go for Sky Return. I actually guarantee win next turn as long as they don't KO us here. Oh, Lysandre, is that game? Yeah, that's it. It was only a matter of time. Lysandre won the game like for the last 5 turns, so they was going to draw it eventually. Well, that's a perfect example of the inconsistencies of this deck. It can feel very mediocre at times, which is why it's not seen a huge amount of play. But at the same time, it's won regional events, so when you run hot with this deck, it's super strong. We're up against Summer Days, playing a grass colorless deck, so that's Decidueye or Lurantis or straight Lurantis or Vespivile. Yeah, even though I misspoke, it actually could be that. Alrighty, we have Genesect. And they're using Trev sleeves. That's pretty cool. See a Rowlet. I'm actually a lot less scared of Decidueye than of Lurantis Plume. Okay, we actually train as well first here, because if we can hit a supporter, then I Ultra Ball for the... maybe I Ultra Ball... No, we have to do this first. Okay, this is useless cards that we will be discarding with Ultra Ball. So we have to go Shaymin here, unfortunately. I mean Hoopa, obviously. For Shaymin and Flygon. Looks like this time not prized. Let's put some dudes down. Let's put the float down. Let's draw 4 cards. Nest Ball is great, as is Xerneas. We will Elixir. Great news. High five, everyone. We did it. And we get another Lillie for 8, which is hilarious. No Skyfield is somewhat of a shame. But we can comfortably pass here, I think. Some Decidueye lists do play Beedrill. Do I play around Beedrill? Do I play around Tauros? What do I play around? I think I just pass. Too many things to play around. I don't know the most standard Decidueye list yet, so we'll see. Some play Trev EX, and he's using Trev sleeves, so who knows? I could be stuck all game. That would be sad. Lillie for 8 though. How many cards did we draw? We drew 6 off it, I think. Those were only 2 cards in hand, right? See a Forest come down, a Dartrix, and Decidueye straight away. Very beautiful card. Ordered myself a couple of these IRL just today to finish my playset. See an Ultra Ball getting rid of a 2 grass energy. Gonna dig for Shaymin. Oftentimes they just... Oh, they actually go for a Fomantis. Maybe they already have Shaymin in hand. Oh, another Ultra Ball. There we go. Okay. So Decidueye Lurantis is an interesting combo. A lot of people just say that Lurantis' damage output is too mediocre. So you just play Decidueye to increase that, but you also have synergy because you can actually attach to this guy at the same time. Seems cool. There is Lurantis. And another. And Acrobike. Getting rid of a Forest. That's a good one to discard after turn 1. See a Trainer's Mail again. Gonna see a Professor Sycamore, so plenty more to do this turn. Oh no, they end us, right? Plenty to do next turn. There's the manual attachment to the bench. Gonna be a Feather Arrow onto the Xerneas. And a pass. So currently we do 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. This is good. This is pretty bad. DC the Shaymin, I guess. Sycamore 2 elixirs, sad times. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19. Ah, the whiffs. Gotta love them. I don't think it's worth Shaymin for 2 cards here. I'd rather just try and hit this Elixir. Like a boss. And we'll go in with this guy. Cash in the chips early. We can always pick up Float and Sky Return to finish it off. I wonder how much healing they play. Oh, typically Shaymin's the thing to get rid of, but here it's Hoopa. We do see that Sycamore straight away. There's another attachment to the Lurantis GX. Let's see if they have a switch card. There's a Feather Arrow going onto the benched Xerneas now. And just a pass. So, I think we just manually attach to the active 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19. Again, we're just that little bit shy of Lysandre KO. Which is sad. Can't Olympia. Could VS Seeker Lillie just for some cards. No, I do want a Sky Return here for sure. I definitely want to do that. So let's drive change. Let's put you on. I can just Sky Return into this guy. I think about my best manual attachment. We'll be getting DC back to hand, but it's likely to be just end away or something. I think this is still safest. It means that we also potentially have the DC to pay retreat on the Flygon. And it means that they need to Lysandre. Kind of. They can't N and Lysandre all at once. I wonder how thick this Decidueye line is. I'd assume it's like a 2-2-2. Something like that. Because it probably already plays Revitalizer. Interesting list though. Because they still have space for speed cards like Acrobikes and Males, etc. There's an Ultra Ball getting rid of another Grass Energy. Plenty in there. Fomantis goes to the bench and Megas straight away. Or not Megas, what am I saying? That's just Mega HP without the Spirit Link. OP. Right, where's this energy going? 2 to the bench, I imagine. Might be spreading them out evenly. Oh, all on here. Okay. We have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 this turn. I can DC the active. Play Sycamore. Seems to be the most aggressive route, and this deck is pretty aggressive, so let's do aggressive things, shall we? Oh, drawing into the Floatstone, sadness. Not drawing into the Pokemon, even more sadness. Fury Belt is good though. This still gets played. Oh no. No, no, no. That's a misclick. Oh dear. Oh dear. There should have been oops option. Because that was pretty dumb. Cool. Oh dear. Oh no. I've done Joe things. There are memes on the stream for time like this, but not on the channel. Oh dear. Throw the game away, Joe. Let's just do those things, shall we? Damn it, Joe. We were in such good shape. Ah, dearie me. Oh, it's a thicker line of Decidueye than I thought. 333 at least. Maybe even thicker than that. Who knows? Oh, that was such a bad decision. Such a bad decision. Revitalizer gets back 2 Decidueyes. So that means they don't have to spend the GX this turn if they choose to snipe the active, which sounds advisable. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. That's so bad for us. Okay, this is where we just get a blowout turn and it's all fine. Right? It's where we find another... This is where we top deck a Xerneas and it's all fine. So bad. Oh, we were so far ahead. Oh, God damn it. Lillie for 1. That's a good one. Yes, Lillie. Always loved you. Oh, we're still in so much trouble. Because of stupidity. Problems. Haven't even seen any healing yet. There is some sneaky healing in there, I imagine. Maybe not because there's no space because of the Decidueye. We'll see. Okay. Alright, we're back on course. Don't worry. 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, we still KO this guy. Okay. Okay, that's good news. How many elixirs do we have left? None. That's a problem. This gets KO'd. Do we still have our Fury Belts? No. So this definitely gets KO'd by the GX attack. So we need to Sycamore so that we can dig for N next turn so they can't Lysandre us. Yeah. DC is a good card. This can go to the bench, I think. Yep. We will Super Rod back in some Pokemon now. No, we won't. Because we're likely getting End. So it's better to have 1 bad draw than 3 extra bad draws. Okay, we might be able to scrape through this game. As long as I continue to retreat into the right Pokemon. But we'll see. Problems. So they KO with the GX attack and they probably N us, and then it's just down to N shenanigans. Their deck size is pretty small. Acrobat mills them to 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Have to be careful about how many cards they play here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. So yeah, they really do have to be careful how many cards they can play. How many floatstones have gone? Only 1. Try and look at alternate win conditions here, other than just taking my prizes. There's the N. Let's see how we're treated. Quite well. Oh, they don't even need GX attack, I forgot. Oh, that makes life much worse for us. Okay. VS Seeker's a card. Can confirm. Sycamore's pretty smart here. We want to try and evolve this guy. Obviously we need those. Is it important enough to put 2 back in? We get 2, 4, 5, 6. We get 1 draw for a Galvantula, so I think we just put 2 in. Oh, sorry, we get 2 draws. What am I saying? No, 1 draw. I can't count. So we're going to do this. And hope they don't have any more switch cards in their hand. 6, 7, 8. And pray. I think we've lost though. Yep, not finding the Galvantula was pretty bad for us. I mean, it was a 2 and 8, so not likely. There's the Floatstone as well. Floatstone or Grass Energy wins them the game, so yeah. Oh, I'm so upset. That was just from... That should have been our win, I say, in my book. That was just our stupid retreat thing. PTCGO retreating. Right, one more game. Deck's been good though. Lillie's been good. Falling short of proper KOs that game. Awkward hands. We haven't had a real like dominant win. But we shall see what we can do in this last game. We start Joltik. Which is pretty good going second, because we can try and get Elixir Shenanigans. But we have got 2 Fairy in our hand already. So, we'll try our bestest. We could potentially end without even elixiring, just for better odds later, to draw back into it. Anyway, looks like we're in a mirror match. And this is a mirror match that we're unlikely to win, I'll say straight away, because they're playing Bishop. Bishop is really good for the mirror. Revenge for a single energy does 90. And Bishop is part steel. So they one bang our Xerneas, so it's probably going to be a loss. But we'll see what we can do. The opponent goes for Skylar. Another potential supporter option in this deck, because it can find Ultra Ball, and Ultra Ball's really good. I still like Lillie though. Lillie's impressed me today. There's something to take away from this list. It's that Lillie is pretty good. Okay, Skylar for Sycamore, and that was it. Top decking Xerneas makes this hand so much better. I think I'm discarding this male. Hoopa not prized once. OP. Let's go get ourselves 150 damage. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Thanks, Hoopa. Whiffing the elixir. That's fine. I'm pretty sure I'm just attaching here and not going for the like juicy KO on the Pawniard, because then I just get responded on straight away. We will Shaymin. Let's put our Skyfield in. It means I can develop the other Joltik, which really limits the opponent's use of Shaymin. I could Ultra Ball again and get a clean Lillie for 8. Sure. That sounds pretty dirty. Yes, Lillie. Do things. Draw all the cards. Wombo combo. Hitting the elixir this time is very good for us, because now we sort of spread our options out. How likely is it that they can retreat this, fill up a bench, and KO? Not hugely likely. It's also not likely that they try and Lysandre stall for a game. Because we've already got one Joltik down. Oh, this is a difficult one. We haven't used the Super Rod yet. Yeah, we'll just pass like this. The only awkward thing is that they could Sky Return. Sky Return's pretty slow though. Okay, so my options are retreat into this, meaning that we always spend the Floatstone next turn. Yeah, I think it's fine. This forces a big old thing, a big old Rainbow Force, and we want them to be the first one Rainbow Forcing, so we can KO relevant Pokemon rather than just taking prizes. There's the cheeky Retaliate. Also, it meant that they couldn't just KO a Joltik cheaply. We see a level ball from the opponent. Getting their own Joltik. They've got to be careful. We have Galvantulas potentially next turn. And Bridget is their supporter of choice. They're holding on to Sycamore, bear in mind. Looks like they're happy enough to just not do anything this turn. Just sort of set up the bench. Wow, putting a Rattata down straight away. Interesting. So, I'm just going to carry the active. Because they need more with this guy than the bishop. So, that's what we're going to do. Maybe I have to play N as well here so I can protect my Joltiks. Really don't want a Galvantula to wreck my life. Let's just play N. End them out of the Sycamore hand. Well, that's a way to Galvantula. Let's protect one. Not going to play the Super Rod because those are 3 bad top decks, so. we shall wait. Nest Ball, not ideal off the prizes with a bench like this. It does mean that I can Ultra Ball for Shaymin next turn though, if they do respond KO, which is pretty likely because they have another Pawniard and they have a Xerneas basically ready to go. There's Volcanion EX. There's the DCE. E-Hammer doesn't make much sense at all because we're getting KO'd. Maybe they're just thinning it so that they're not having one dead card for the end, I guess. That's the only real way I can see that being super viable. See Lysandre for the Volcanion EX. So they're trying to raise prizes pretty hard here. They put down Shaymin EX, which is cool for us. Galvantula is always a hidden threat in this matchup. Gonna see a Max Elixir from the opponent. Likely going here if they hit it. And that's exactly what we see. Gonna see another level ball. Can find themselves Galvantula, maybe. Yeah. Gonna protect themselves from our own Galvantula. Gonna see an Ultra Ball as well. Plenty more playing to do. Gets rid of level ball and Fair Energy, so maybe another Shaymin EX here. Got to be super careful because I do have Galv. It turns my win condition into just KO the active, then double Galvantula for game, which our opponent seems to be giving us. Obviously, if they spend a turn Sky returning, it's not a huge problem for us. Then they're only doing 30 to a Galvantula, and we can just do other things, but hey. Energy Retrieval is also a card that we don't often see in a list like this. Silent Lab, hello there. I'm gonna get rid of one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Three, 6, 9, 12. That's all we need. But that does ruin our Shaymin EX. Our only means of draw. We're getting outskilled. What just happened? Well, we really need to top deck now. Okay. 6, 9, 12. Oh, I'm such a scumbag at this game. Okay, we're still alive. 3, 6, 9, 12, yeah. For the same reasons as why we didn't Super Rod last turn, we're not going to do it this turn. Although I guess Fair Energy is one of our best. No, Fair Energy is terrible top deck because the Shaymins are gone. Oh, that Silent Lab was next level, honestly. My goodness, that was a play. Yeah, Fair Energy's not even a good top deck now. Alright then. evened up the prize trade. I said from the start we'd lose this game just because of Bishop, but we're losing for many, many other reasons now. Getting outplayed by Silent Lab being one of them. The opponent confidently promotes the Xerneas, which means they probably have DC in hand. There's the Fury Belt, which makes life much worse for us. Oh, excuse me. There's the DC as well. So I'd appreciate top decking another DCE. That would be really nice. Maybe asking for too much, but who knows. This is a kooky list. Skylar Bridget. Cross your fingers for another DC off the top, everyone. Or a Skyfield, or a supporter. Trainer's Mail could be one of those things. Is there anything I can cycle first with the Nest Ball? Yes. Come on, Trainer's Mail. Okay, supporter is good. Supporter equals good. We do want a Super Rod now. I'm going to put back energies. Because I feel like to keep up I actually need to hit my last elixir. Keep up damage wise we need Volcanion. We'll just take the Shaymin, I think. The threatening double Galvantula now as well, on top of all of our other worries. Okay. Sometimes lucky. Again. 3, 6, 9, 12. We're only doing 120. So it's Galvantula turn. The feels. So next turn, DCN, hope to find a Pokemon to actually KO this guy, or more than one. We need to replace the Galvantula, which is 60 damage we're losing. VS seeking Skylar? Do they not have Lysandre? They had Lysandre, and they chose not to use Lysandre. Interesting. Oh, nope, just kidding. There we go. Right. What switch cards have we seen from this opponent? I don't think we've seen any. Which worries me. Because obviously that's a problem. That they could easily be holding Floatstones / Olympias. They VS-seek back a Skylar as well. So we can't really just go for a ballsy Lysandre play. That sounds wrong to me. So instead of that, it does have to be the end here. And it's hope that they can't Lysandre for game. Galvantula keeps us to 2 prizes away, and hopefully we can do shenanigans from there. Skyfield is something that I'll hold for now. Just in case they have any more weird things. Gonna put the 30 on the Volcanion EX because that could potentially be a Lysandre for game option if we get super lucky, but we'll see. We'll see from here. Lysandre. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Yeah, they've got 200 damage on the board. 2 Lysandres played, only 1 VS Seeker played. But 3 out of 24 cards. Okay. Skylar. Time for the next level catcher. We've been pretty lucky this game. Okay, Skylaring for the Sycamore. That's reasonable. Just don't bench Xerneas and attach to it. Okay, attach to Galvantula I can handle. Does mean that we have to find our other Galvantula though. Because Joltik will die. So, more problems to worry about. Let's attach. Let's Skyfield. Let's hope to get a KO and find a Galvantula. Okay, not all is lost. I'm remaining hopeful. Do we have Galvantula in here? No, we don't. Okay, so we lose. There's no way that we can win this game. Oh no, Elixir was only the top 6. Not full deck. Okay. I don't know that it's not in there. Maybe it is? Well, it's not there. So that is good game. Couldn't find a Fury Belt either. Oh, come on. We had Fury Belt outs as well. Game. It's been one of these days. One of these days. Sad times. Damn it, Fury Belt. Why always prized? Well played. The Bishop amazingly didn't come into play at all. But there's the cheeky double thread win from the opponent. Yeah. Silent Lab. Try it out for yourselves, guys. Oh well, anyway, that's my list for now. Let me know how you're playing Rainbow Road. Is it similar to our opponent or similar to mine? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, those are some weird close games. Pretty sure the Lurantis Decidueye matchup was my win if I just clicked the right Pokemon, but hey. Yeah, that was good fun. More lists coming, I think, daily this week. Tomorrow will be, I'll be doing a video as well as the stream, and Thursday will be the stream, Friday there'll be another list, and then I think I'm going to tournaments at the weekend. But plenty more going on the channel. We're updating old contenders for the upcoming regional, as well as looking at new lists as well. So please leave a like to this video if you did, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. For now though, it's been Joe from Omnipoke, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Cheers.